Good evening. You are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos receives a written message from His Excellency the Iranian President, handed over to His Excellency the Minister of the Diwan of Royal Court. The number of road accidents in the Sultanate declined by 40% as the number of deaths in traffic accidents decreased by 35%. And UN investigators say top Myanmar military leaders should be prosecuted for genocide against Rohingya Muslims. Those were the headlines, now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin Said received a written message from His Excellency President Dr. Hassan Rouhani of the Islamic Republic of Iran. The message was handed over to His Excellency Syed Khalid bin Halal bin Saud Al Busaidi, Minister of the Diwan of Royal Court, when he received in his office this morning His Excellency Mohammad Rida Nouri, Ambassador of Iran to the Sultanate. During the meeting, cordial talks were exchanged and bilateral relations of the two countries were reviewed. The number of road accidents in the Sultanate declined by more than 40% until the end of the previous month compared to last year. The National Statistics Information Centre mentioned that the number of traffic accidents during the last 3 months reached around 650. The centre also clarified that the number of deaths in traffic accidents last month declined by 35% to reach 42 deaths, compared to 65 deaths the previous June to reach 52% of total accidents. To encourage the private sector to invest in customs warehouses, which will transform the country into an importing and re-exporting hub in the region, the Directorate General of Customs for Royal Oman Police organised a workshop on the newly introduced procedures that will improve trading by suspending duties for goods customs warehouses. The workshop, which was attended by stakeholders from both the public and private sectors, was applauded as the new procedures will create a more competitive environment for investors at local and international levels. The Director General of Customs stated that customs warehouses are important as they will attract investment from local and international investors in the field of importing and re-exporting. The Director General also highlighted other benefits of customs warehouses, such as the new system that will minimise human intervention for swift and smooth movement of goods. Israel reopened its only crossing for people with the Gaza Strip today, a week after shutting it over violence along the border with the Palestinian enclave. The reopening, following days of relative calm, comes as Egypt holds talks with Palestinian officials as part of efforts to reach a long-term truce with Israel. A spokeswoman for the Israeli Defense Ministry unit that oversees the Erez crossing confirmed it had opened as planned this morning. Israel closed the crossing except to humanitarian cases on August 19th after another round of protests and clashes on the border with the Hamas-run Gaza Strip. An average of around 1,000 Gazans cross through Erez each day, mostly those in need of medical care, but also business people, students and others. A second crossing with Israel, Kerem Shalom, is for goods. Investigators working for the UN's top human rights body say that top Myanmar military leaders should be prosecuted for genocide against Rohingya Muslims. The call, accompanying a first report by the investigators, amounts to some of the strongest language yet from UN officials who have denounced alleged human rights violations in Myanmar since a bloody crackdown began last August. The UN-backed Human Rights Council created the mission 6 months before a rebel attack on security posts set off the crackdown that drove hundreds of thousands of Rohingya fleeing to neighbouring Bangladesh.
However, we believe that there is
The Kremlin said it needed time to assess the impact of new US sanctions that come into effect today before considering any possible response, but that President Vladimir Putin would act in line with Russia's national interest. The United States announced new sanctions on Russia earlier this month over a nerve agent attack in Britain. The new measures terminate foreign assistance, some arms sales and financing to Russia, as well as denying the country credit and prohibiting the export of security-sensitive goods and technology. French President Emmanuel Macron has announced a new push for a European defence project, saying the continent's security shouldn't solely rely on the US. In a speech to French ambassadors in Paris, Macron said it's up to them to meet their responsibilities and guarantee their security and therefore European sovereignty. He said discussions on defence cooperation should be extended to all European countries and Russia on condition that progress is made with Moscow on the fighting in eastern Ukraine between the government and Russian-backed separatists. France is pushing for the full implementation of the 2015 Minsk peace agreement that was sponsored by France and Germany to settle the conflict in Ukraine, which has killed at least 10,000 people since 2014. Since this election in May 2017, the 40-year-old leader has called for a more integrated European Union with a common European defence budget and security doctrine. A Tajik or Russian plane bombed Afghanistan's Durkad district in northern Takhar province after clashes erupted near Tajikistan's border. Takhar provincial police said the bombing near the border area started after 2 Tajik border guards were killed in the clash with the Taliban. He said 8 Taliban insurgents were killed and 6 others were wounded. The Taliban has confirmed the clash and the subsequent bombing. Still to come in our news bulletin. A number of touristic potentials make the Sultanate a stunning destination throughout the year for tourists. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. The Board of Trustees of Oman College for Health Sciences and the Higher Institute for Health Specialities, in its first meeting, discussed the organisational structure of the college and the institute, as well as a mechanism of choosing a dean and other assistants, in addition to taking the necessary decisions about them. The meeting was presided over by His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed As-Saidi, Minister of Health and Chairman of the Board. The programme of localising teaching jobs in remote areas in a number of the Sultanate's governorates continues to qualify students to work as teachers in the villages, which witness a continuous movement among teaching cadre. The programme comes within a plan to graduate teachers from remote areas in various governorates of the Sultanate to work in their villages, as teachers from other places always ask to transfer to schools in cities. The programme of localising teaching jobs in remote areas is established in cooperation between the Ministry of Higher Education and Ministry of Education. The programme qualifies students in the specialisations of mathematics, English, chemistry, physics and biology. Around 300 male and female students joined Rustak College of Education this year, and after graduation they will be appointed in the remote areas. The Sultanate, represented by the Public Authority for Social Insurance, participated in the works of the International Social Security Association Forum for Technical Commissions hosted in Geneva. The forum reviewed the global challenges facing social security and the innovation programme of the association. It also focused on the preparations for the Regional Social Security Forum for the year 2019. The Sultanate enjoys a number of touristic potentials which make it a stunning destination throughout the year for tourists from inside and outside the Sultanate. According to figures issued by the Ministry of Tourism, around 110,000 tourists visited the Governorate of Dhofar, Niaba of Ras Al Had in the Walaya of Sur, Niaba of Jabal Al Akhdar in the Walaya of Niswa, and the Walaya of Wadi Bani Khalid in the North Sharqiya Governorate during the blessed Eid al-Adha leave. More than 16,000 tourists visited the Niaba of Jabal Al Akhdar during the period from the 17th to 24th of August. The Niaba of Jabal Al Akhdar in the Governorate of Dakhliya is considered one of the leading touristic destinations in the Sultanate. It is characterized by moderate summer weather, fresh air and a cold winter for those looking for cold weather and sometimes snow. It is also characterized by its magnificent agricultural terraces, unique trees, towering mountains, diverse terrain and magnificent valleys. More than 10,000 tourists also visited Wadi Bani Khalid during the blessed Eid al-Adha leave. The Walaya, with its fresh water pools and unique geological nature, is considered a stunning touristic destination for tourists from inside and outside the Sultanate. Ras Al Jins Turtle Reserve in the Niaba of Ras Al Had in South Sharqiya Governorate attracted around 2,800 tourists during the same period. Historical landmarks in the Sultanate also attracted a great number of tourists to become acquainted with the Sultanate's history and cultural heritage. Now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Cloudy skies will prevail over coastal areas of the Governorate of Dhofar and its nearby mountains, with chances of intermittent drizzle. The rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies with chances of low clouds and fog late at night and early morning over most coastal areas. Winds will be south to southeasterly, light to moderate. Seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1.25 metres. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos receives a written message from His Excellency the Iranian President, handed over to His Excellency the Minister of the Diwan of Royal Court. The number of road accidents in the Sultanate declined by 40% as the number of deaths in traffic accidents decreased by 35%. And UN investigators say top Myanmar military leaders should be prosecuted for genocide against Rohingya Muslims. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.